Super creepy. So this guy called every single major twist in the movie before it happened. All right. So we got drunk and we watched Get Out. So here's our thoughts. We got a little loaded. We had some mules early on. Dustin switched to Guinness.
I did.
I'm drinking a local IPA. We're loaded enough for me to be able to set up the lights in the video camera. And we have some interesting opinions about Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Yes. It's charged. It's definitely charged. To me, I feel like, man, watching it, I'm thinking, holy hell.
Okay, so I'll say this. Did you, at multiple points, and we have not discussed the movie as of yet. We literally just watched it. We're sitting down, we're talking about it. Did you feel uncomfortable at multiple points watching the movie?
I would say, yeah. Watching that movie, I'll tell you this. I saw the previews. I had an idea that movie might be as charged, and I like to use the term charged, as aggressive as it is, but I wasn't sure how it would turn out, just granted it's previews, but
I'll say I think charged is a good word because I think there were several articles when the movie came out that kind of labeled it as a racist movie. I would say it is a racially charged story.
Yes.
But it is not a racist story. Yeah, okay.
Not at all.
So you agree.
I don't think it's racist. No,
again, we have not discussed this. I don't yet know if we're on the same page, and it seems like we are. I don't think it's racist. Now, I will say I think they kind of gloss over it a little bit where they kind of make it not racist, where the guy's like, well, the main character asks, why black people?
Well,
and the guy goes, well, who knows? And they kind of gloss over that. To me, it seems like it was sort of written over a little bit. To me, it was two things at the same time, and neither one is appropriate.
Neither one is appropriate.
And there are some spoilers here. We're going to try not to give away too many. But as far as the racial elements go, there's the element of sort of these specific white people in the story looking at black people in general as having sort of benefits, whether they be physical or whatever. Like the grandfather is put in the place of this really fit, late 20s black man, and he exercises at night, which
he runs it.
That scene was crazy, but so there's sort of this, they want sort of this power, but at the same time, in order to do that to black people, these white people must see them as inferior, superior and inferior at the same time, in order to consistently target them. Because the thing is, the movie could have easily just been, there's this guy that happens to be black that we've snookered into this situation that we're going to auction his body off.
Auction his being off.
The movie could have easily done that, but there definitely is a deliberate choice where all of the victims are black. So it is something where this specific group of white people are targeting black people, and that's a decision that was made by the creators for sure. That is part of the story. You can't ignore that.
That's key. Listen, I think the movie is, for being a horror / genre, I think it was very well done. I enjoyed it watching it. I actually, throughout it, was thinking specific things that I would do if I were in that scenario, so I can put myself in the first person point of view of the main character. But yes, what I think is genius. Let me throw out pros. To me, the dad. Like he's from Nerds, man. If you guys didn't know, he's from Nerds. Like,
well, and he's the guy in Billy Madison. He faces off with in the quiz at the end.
Absolutely.
But he's always a guy that's like, you seem like you could like him, but he's too much of a worm.
Right.
And he plays that character so well, and he does it perfectly. Because there's 2 times.
What's the other movie we talked about though that he was absolutely
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
He's great in that. He's one of the control room guys in Cabin in the Woods.
Think of all the pain and the tequila is my lady, my lady. Come on in, guys. Come on in. You're welcome. Tequila from darkness. There is light.
Love him. He's great in this. There's the 2 cringe moments where the daughter mentions that he would have voted for Obama for a 3rd time, and then he's with the main character alone, and it's such a cringe moment.
Yes.
And then later on, he's wearing the turtleneck with the corduroy jacket, and he's just a really cringy character, but he plays it so well. And really everybody in the movie does it so well. Brother, even though he's really in just 2 scenes, he's creepy as hell.
He's creepy and dirty looking. Like seeing him from it's Banshee. If you guys didn't know, where he's from
X-Men First Class.
But he's good. I mean, like he's a great. Not to say he's not a great actor.
Yeah.
But he just gives you a good what? Like, what do you mean? Like, do you follow MMA, UFC? Like, that whole scenario, like...
Well, and he was asking about the fighting, and he definitely has, if you've seen the movie or you rewatch it, he definitely has, like, a mild bruise around his eye. Like, his eye is red, and there's kind of a bruise in the corner of his eye, which means I think he's probably spars. It sounds like he probably because then he starts talking about how jiu-jitsu is
it's a chess game.
Yeah, so I think he must be in jiu-jitsu classes where he spars and he takes some hits, which is why he's able to choke people out as quickly as he is, because that's a key element.
That is a key element.
And he's sort of the reaper for the family. You know, the daughter lures them in, which she turns super creepy. So this guy called every single major twist in the movie before it happened. Even the big spoiler here. Even the furniture stuffing in the ears for the
furniture stuffing they allude to, which again this is a huge spoiler. So
it was this mildest hint.
But as soon as he looks down at it, it's like, oh, that makes sense. But I don't necessarily know if that's from just the way they allude to it, and you think like, well, hell, I'd put something in my ear and I'd be fine. But like even at the end, I will say there was a slight moment I was like, she's getting choked.
Oh,
hands-on throat choke.
That was really specific for you to call that, but it is absolutely what happened.
That's exactly.
It cost $4.5 million to make, and it grossed well over $200 million in the box office. So, just in terms of percentages,
good job.
It's one of the most successful movies we've had in recent history. Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. If you didn't know that Peele from Key and Peele,
I hope you do.
Wrote and directed this. You've been living under a rock. He, sort of like M. Night Shyamalan, I don't want to curse him by putting that name out there, but he is going to be able to make movies for years, even if they suck. This movie made so much money, studios are going to back him behind multiple flops if they happen. Now, I would love for him to continue to make movies for decades, because what he did with this was he wrote something original, he created it on a low budget, and it's entertaining, and it's just a product. You know, you spend $10 on it for a ticket, and it's worth that amount of money. It's interesting, it holds your interest. Like I said, we're loaded right now.
I am loaded. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's almost midnight. We were watching it with the wives. Nobody fell asleep. We all had a great time watching it. The lights are off. Anybody could have easily fallen asleep, but we all had a great time watching it, and that makes it worth the time. This was my second time watching it. I really enjoyed it. So if you've seen it, if you were lucky enough to see it in a theater, and you haven't watched it with some of your closer friends, rent it at the very least, if not buy it, and watch it with them. It was so much fun watching everybody kind of trying to figure out what was happening. Because to me, this is like an almost 2-hour episode of The Twilight Zone. It's not so much a horror movie as like one of those old Twilight Zone episodes where you're like, what is going on? The movie's not racist.
By no means.
But being as racially charged as it is, I think Jordan Peele did a very good job of sort of like crafting that and sort of like handling it with, not with kid gloves, but sort of handling it where everyone can kind of understand where he's coming from with it. I think what the movie was even getting at was that, again, this family or this group, because it's not even just a family, it's family and friends, this weird, because they're all so weird in the movie, this weird group of white people have a view where black people are maybe physically superior, because there's the photo.
Well, there's undertones and talk, and they
everything is specific to physical. There's the photo in the hallway about the grandfather that was a Olympic runner that lost to the black runner that famously won sort of during the Olympics when Hitler was in power. So that photo's on the wall. I mean, I could go and listen to brothers talking about him, like the main character being
physical
like
specimen,
physically able to be a good fighter, but even ultimately the blind art dealer that bids for the main character really wants him for his eyes, which again is a physical thing. It's all physical, but how they control the situation and how they control everything with the hypnosis is all mental. So it seems as if they had this view where, we want to harness the physical superiority from this race, but we feel like they may be intellectually inferior,
right?
Which again, that in itself is racist on both sides, because racism in itself is thinking that a specific race is inferior or superior.
Absolutely.
So it's both, and it's definitely about a racist group of people, but the movie is specific to this group of people for sure, because it is
it's dialed in to what we see, what we know,
and they are so weird. It's not like it's not a good look. It's not. Yeah, it's not like at any point do any of these other characters at this house represent anybody that you would know. Like, they're all so bizarre.
Did you see it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater.
You saw it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater.
Where'd you see it?
And I was in Philadelphia. I was on a business trip.
Oh, shit.
So I've got a 1-year-old at home, which means I don't get to go to the theater much. I'm on a business trip. I'm in Philadelphia. There was nothing for me to do. I went and saw Get Out in the movie. And it was, I want to say it had been out for like 4 months. And it was still in the theater, which is a really long time. And it was a pretty packed theater. I mean, it was like at 50% capacity on a weeknight, and it was a mixed race, obviously.
Picture being solo, guys. You're hearing.
Yeah, I'm by myself. But there's not, there's points where there's a little bit of tension, but for the most part, everybody's uncomfortable because this family that you're encountering is so bizarre and so weird that.
They give you
everybody. It gives everybody the heebie-jeebies.
It's the heebie-jeebies for sure, man.
It's not even just the white people. It's the housekeeper and the groundskeeper, both, because obviously from what you find out later, they both give you the
again. Spoiler alert! They have that whole scenario, like they're involved big on this whole scenario, and I mean, for you to watch this in a theater by yourself, I can see it. But for myself, I don't think I could have watched it in a theater and been comfortable because, again, Key, like, you did a phenomenal job in directing this flick. But it is so progressive, is the term I would say.
It's progressive, but again, like I said, genre bender, because it's a horror movie, but it's not necessarily scary.
No, it's not overly scary.
I think the more important thing about the movie versus any of the racial elements of it is name another movie like Get Out that you've seen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I know none. So
Jordan
great
Peele,
job on that.
Yeah, he's created
down.
something completely original. It's interesting. It's entertaining. It's got good moments in it. It's fairly well put together. At times it looks a little cheap because it was done on a fairly low budget. It's all filmed in one location for the most part. But that's the worst thing I could possibly say about it. It does make you feel uncomfortable at points, but it's not. When it ends, it doesn't leave you with anything horrible that where you feel like, or where you feel like there was an agenda. I don't feel like there was an agenda.
No, to a degree.
I think early on, some people in the room felt like there might have been, but by the time they come full circle with everything, I think it wrapped everything up in a pretty tight little bow. And
I do. I think there's innuendos in that. Oh film,
yeah,
for sure. Like,
yeah.
I think the overall message is very good. Like, in terms of. It makes you think. Like, this is a movie that you can go watch and you will actually think about, like, what's going on. It's going to make you go really introverted into how you feel with these kind of scenarios. Because this is, it's not, obviously it's really exaggerated in terms of what we're dealing with circumstantial-wise. But you can think of scenarios throughout this movie that you've either experienced or that you know people who experience this.
It's kind of slow for the first 75%, and it does build slowly. But then once that spark goes off, it's just like, holy shit, what the fuck are they doing?
I get the whole title, Get Out. It should be Get the Fuck Out, really. Like, for as far as
because that's what you're thinking. Like, halfway through the movie, you're like, dude, get out of there.
Because there's no shit in there that, let me be honest with you, like, there are scenes in this movie, let's start in the beginning, I have to throw this out, like, that I know I have there's no way anyone, I don't care what your fucking race is.
I'll say, though, the whole situation with, this is my girlfriend's family, I'm here, I don't have my own car.
Yeah.
She seems to just think, everything's okay. Because she was the real big, I guess, red herring.
Oh, she sells that
throughout the movie. Yeah. You called it, but everybody else in the room insisted, no, I think she's, at the very least, she's under hypnosis. She's not in on it. She doesn't know. And she played that so well up until the point where she pulls those keys out and was like, I can't give you these keys. That's a great moment. What does that say, though?
Because I think we've all had a scenario, and at some point we're like, and I'll be blunt here, I'm like, this white bitch, like, what the fuck? Like,
no,
everyone's dated at some point, maybe even come close to someone crazy as shit like that. You're like, holy shit. I can relate to this moment right now. But I said go out the window for the fucking
right before he went down.
Throw your shit out the window, follow it through the window. That's what I would do.
He had nowhere to go, though, and especially with that mom.
Yeah, he's not running far.
Especially with that mom being able to just tap the spoon in a cup and knock him out.
Jesus.
But I loved how, I know we're wanting to wrap this up, but I really liked how the girlfriend, as soon as she flipped the switch and revealed who she really was, hair's pulled back, she's dressing different, she looked like a freak.
Yeah.
She looked so normal the whole movie. She's like, oh, I know, they're so weird.
It's a good one.
They're so weird. And then she just I don't want to say the word Nazi, but she just tightened up, crisp shirt, hair back, tightened up.
And it was definitely for sure.
It was
for sure.
And the thing with that was, I don't know that they were trying to suggest anything with just the way she was dressed and the way her demeanor, but other than this, she's 180. She's completely different now from how she was.
She definitely switches.
She was
mentally. over.
She was honey
She went
potting.
from-
Honey potting. Is
Oh,
that a thing?
honey. Yeah, well,
potting?
I mean, can we say honey potting from James Franco and what's the whole
Sugar dicking.
sure? What's the whole? They have the Kim Jong. What's that damn movie?
Oh, the interview.
The interview where he's like, "You honey potted
Yeah,
me."
she
Okay,
so,
fucking
yeah,
totally honey potted him.
She was honey potting him.
But they chose a great actress for that because I would say that she could have honey potted most.
She was great, and he was really good.
Oh, it's solid, great acting. For
I mean, he
man.
probably because even the poster is him like with tears running out of his eyes.
Which is sad. I wonder what he thinks about when he's doing that because I don't think he's putting Visine.
No, he's
doing real. It's real.
Like
emotion.
Michael Fassbender's good at that, but this guy's good at just getting
I mean, he's not
gushing
rolling.
coming
Yeah.
out of his eyes. Which I think is why he got the role. Not that he wasn't good throughout.
Oh
but
no, yeah.
They needed a guy that could just sit there and just have water coming out of his eyeball. So if you're not familiar with him, if you watch Get Out, you like him. I don't have his name because we don't fact check.
Been drinking too.
But he is in a really great episode of The Black Mirror, which is a UK show. It's on Netflix. He's in sort of a futuristic episode where like you're basically only lot in life is like riding this like electric bike to power the like city or whatever. I don't even think you ever get to see it, but you get like points. And then you have to spend those points to buy food, and he ends up spending them to like get rid of like porn advertisements that come up on the walls in his like sleep chamber. It's really bizarre, but he's great in it. Like
I haven't seen it.
I watched it years ago when it first came out, and I still remember. It's the only other time I've seen the guy, but he's really emotional in that too. But he was great in that, and I still remember that. It's a really
Are they
good
good
episode.
porn advertisements in the movie?
Well, it's weird, and they tie back into the story. Like that show is so good. It's really like a modern day Twilight Zone, and I think this movie is really like a modern Twilight Zone episode. Just the way it plays out. We don't know what's going on, and then there's the twist, and it's not like I'll mention a Shyamalan movie.
It was not. I mean, like I threw predictions out because I assumed they were that, but there's no way I would never like. Some of them were just over the top, and I'm shocked they occurred. But
yeah, but
it's a good movie.
Yeah, and it's just interesting, and it sparked an interesting conversation that you just watched. So if you haven't seen it and you picked up a couple spoilers, I'm sorry. If you have seen it, hopefully this was interesting. I do think it's a movie that's worth multiple views. If you have some close friends that you haven't watched it with, I highly recommend you get a copy and watch it with them. It's very interesting to watch people that haven't seen the movie watch it. It's one of those types of movies. So hopefully we see some other good stuff from Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah,
if we do, who knows? Maybe we'll get loaded again. And
I want to drink more, guys. Thanks for having me, bud.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Please follow us on Instagram and